Mitä haluatte, että mä juttelen tänne? Mä menen vähän kauemmaksi, että ei tule mitään kiertohommeleita. Tänään aamupalaksi, eli mä söin banaanipuuroa, jossa oli vähän kookoshiutaleita mukana. Ja sitten siinä oli vielä kanelia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be. Today, we are going to explore topics around the future of packaging design, and we have assembled an excellent group of panelists from different backgrounds to discuss how packaging has changed, what is on the horizon, and how we can navigate the world of packaging in 2021 and beyond. My name is Adam Moffett, Business Development Manager for UPM Raflatac in the Americas region. I will be your host and moderator for today's webinar. We have a lot of topics to cover today. However, if you have questions during the webinar, you will have two options to send your comments in. First, via the platform, and after the webinar, our contact details will be shared at the end of the presentation, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. In addition, this webinar will be recorded, and we will send the recording to all the registrants tomorrow via email. I want to take a moment to introduce our group of panelists and then get right into our topics for today. With that being said, let's move to my friend and colleague, Eliisa.
Thank you, Adam, and hi, everyone. So my name is Eliisa Laurikainen, and I work as a business development manager in UPM Raflatac in EMEA region. UPM Raflatac delivers labor stock materials for many different end-use areas like food, home and personal care, pharmaceuticals, retail, just to mention a few examples. We are part of the UPM Corporation, which is a global leading forest industry company, and we are also a very global company ourselves. We have a network of factories, sales offices, and distribution terminals in over 40 countries. We employ 3,000 people, and in 2020, our sales was 1.6 billion euros. In my role, I collaborate in the packaging value chain and try to understand the trends and needs there are. And today, I'm very excited to be in this webinar, and I will be giving the insights to those trends, how we see them.
Thank you, Eliisa. Adam Ryan.
Great. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Adam Ryan, and I am head of Pentawards. For those who don't know, Pentawards is the world's first ever competition exclusively devoted to packaging design. Our mission is to recognise excellence in design, to be a source of inspiration, to connect and add value to the global packaging design community. And we do this through our competition, events, partnerships like what we've got with UPM Raflatac, launching our books, posting on our social media platforms, and sharing content on our website. So check us out.
Thank you, Adam. Jenny?
Morning, I'm Jenny Greenwood. I work at Butterfly Cannon as their Innovation and Sustainability Manager. For those of you who do not know Butterfly Cannon, they are a design agency working on aspirational brands across drinks, food, cosmetics, lifestyle, a whole range of different packaging opportunities there. So my role is there to make sure that we're heading up sustainability throughout and pushing our clients to go further.
Excellent. Last but not least, Richard.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Richard Walzer. So as well as being a judge with Adam on the Pentawards, I'm also in my day job, head of design and innovation at Mars Wrigley. And pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID, I have the wonderful job of working in a chocolate factory, designing confectionery on brands such as M&M's, Snickers, Galaxy, Kind, gum, Orbit Extra, fruity like Skittles and Starburst. And I am currently, as I said, working across the European brands like Celebrations, Milky Way, Bounty, Maltesers. So lots of fun in my day job.
Absolutely. So thank you all for your participation today. I'm looking forward to the dialogue on the several topics that we do have. With that being said, let's dive right in. So in some way, shape, or form, we have all been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The packaging industry has been affected in many ways, from the supply chain to creating unique offerings. So how does packaging adjust and grow in this new normal? To kick us off on this topic, Richard, let us start with you. How has COVID affected packaging design?
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Adam. So starting with probably the hardest question, and the one probably everyone wants to know the answer to, is what does the new normal look like? What happens post-COVID? And I wish I knew the answer. I wish I was sitting here as an expert of foresight, knowing what was going to happen next. But unfortunately for our audience, I can't tell you what's going to happen next. What we can say is that obviously COVID has completely changed our way of living and opened us up to a number of new things. We've all had no choice but to try a number of new things during the pandemic. And I guess my life is probably similar to many out there, where we've seen a significant shift to e-commerce. It was a trend that we obviously saw coming for a number of years, but now it's accelerated significantly during the pandemic. And if anyone's lives are like my life, you probably have the Amazon truck coming down your road every day. And it's a bit like the ice cream truck used to be for you as a kid. It's quite exciting to pull up and see what they've got for you today. But as a result of that, shopping is planned and less impulsive. And people have shifted to more planned purchases. Obviously, that's not great for an impulsive business like Wrigley. But on the other hand, we're seeing more big nights in, more moments at home, more self-rewarding. And we're also seeing a greater sense of kindness in the community generally around the COVID pandemic. And hopefully, that kindness will continue for a long period afterwards. And if you translate that, potentially you can see that people are giving gifts more remotely, caring about people more remotely. And therefore, we can use e-commerce as gift platform to pre-plan and send people some wonderful items. I'm sure you're probably, again, like me, you've had some wonderful things come through to give experiences out of the box. For example, for my wife, I gave her a London restaurant scratch cooking experience, which is fantastic and fun to do at home. We've seen people like Magnum introduce the My Magnum kit, so you get the Magnum store experience that you can replicate in the home. And they all deliver these beautiful premium and layered unraveling experiences, which is quite unique and quite different to the kind of thing that you can buy in the grocer. But obviously, the contradictory trend we're seeing for that is obviously that involves a lot of packaging and a lot of waste and a lot of layering. And I think we're seeing an increased consciousness amongst consumers for waste. One, because you actually see what you're throwing away every day. If you're only living like I am in this box, in this one room that I live in at the moment, you see everything piling up into the bin, and therefore you're consciously seeing every bit of waste that you're producing. And my bins are packed to the rafters every week. But with that, I think there's also an awareness that we have such an impact on the world, as we're seeing through COVID. And I hope that we'll see an increased consciousness for climate control post-COVID, and that will be the next key focus that we'll be looking at.
Excellent. Thank you. Jenny, we're going to switch to you now with the same question. So how's COVID affected packaging design?
Well, firstly, couldn't agree more with what Richard said. Obviously not for my wife, or I didn't buy anyone anything super as nice as that, but that sounds wonderful. But basically, it has been quite a big shift. If you think of when it first arrived, everyone went back into survival mode, and there were already steps. If I think about the sustainability side of it, there were already steps that people were making beforehand that were slowly being introduced into the market across the world, and people were making larger steps there. But the second COVID hit, everyone went into that instinct of, okay, how do we survive? And a lot of the inherent inbuilt natures that we had went back to single-use things, and quickly, how do we absorb all these things and work as fast as possible to make sure everyone's safe? So I think that first hit, and then as Richard actually rightly described, like you're at home, you're seeing all your packaging more and more, you're seeing everything surround you, that you basically are now looking at packaging and going, okay, there's everything in here. So there's been, opposite to what everyone would think, there has been a bigger shift now towards conscious or sustainable design, because you are seeing it more. So there's that side of it. I did also do a talk last year where I've not seen it in my role, where people are concerned about hygiene, for example, but it did, from the statistics they were getting from different market research, people are quite nervous around some of that still, and hygiene side of things. So I think that's still cropping up. So I think that's what's happened there. I don't know what the new normal will be, because I think you just take it as it comes. I think lots of things are changing in the world in general, and how people are thinking about things, because they've got more time to reflect on everything. yeah, I think it's just
Agreed.
that step you've seen throughout everything.
100%. 100%. So, Eliisa, how has COVID affected packaging design in your role?
Well, definitely it has affected, and I also agree that we are now more than ever seeing the impact of the packaging, and we spend more time home, we consume more food packaging, and that is really visible for us. And as a good example I can give, we as a company have seen increase in the inquiries related to sustainability. So that has been increasing 25% in 1 year. So clearly that's a good sign that now this awareness is driving people to make changes as well. And also one example how labels can play a part here is that actually when you order takeaway food, for example, so there might be some sealing labels in those packages to tell the customer that when he or she receives that, so there is actually tamper evidence there that no one hasn't touched that package before. So those kind of examples I can give here.
Agreed. I think that's global in thought process too, as well. We can see it on both sides of the coin there. So, Adam, now to you. In your role, how has COVID affected packaging design from where you see it?
Well, I think it's interesting and important to mention, we've not only had to deal with COVID-19 during these times. There's been 3 or 4 different kind of crises as humans we've had to deal with. Obviously COVID-19, the economic fallout, challenges around representation and equality, highlighted in the Black Lives Matters protests. And there's been a lot of riots for other things and social upheaval. Obviously where you live, Adam, obviously Donald Trump has been a very big thing. And even in the UK at the moment, there's lots of things around safety for women. So we're living in a time where we're dealing with lots of different things and we have to adapt to a new way of living, but it has had a positive effect on humanity. We've seen beautiful acts of kindness and solidarity and, nature's healing. And we're spending more time with our loved ones like we've never done before. And before I came on the call, I was actually saying my son, I told him I'm coming to do this and coming to the office today, and he scratched my face because he's so used to me being at home. So I did make it here alive. But the great thing is with these opportunities and the changes, we've seen great things. For example, alcohol distilleries shifting to make hand sanitizer and PPE being created using 3D printers. And as Albert Einstein once said, in the midst of every crisis, there lies an opportunity. And within packaging, there's some meta trends that are sustainability, e-commerce, the consumer's behavior and their preferences. And like Jenny said, like the hygiene factor. And, like Richard said, these shifts are already underway, but the pandemic has really accelerated them.
Agreed 100%. I think the speed to market was quite impressive, at least from my standpoint, to see how we could navigate the new normal, as they said. So I'm proud to say I'm part of the packaging industry, and what we've done at that point has really been impressive. So we've touched on most of the COVID topics. I think is a good overall reach. So I think we'll move on to the next topic. So thank you all for your insights. So Richard had touched on this quite a bit, but I think we should dive in just a little bit more. So our next topic revolves around e-commerce. So some recent data has shown that e-commerce retail sales increased close to 30% last year to $4 trillion in sales globally. And by 2022, that number is projected to grow to $5 trillion. So now more than ever, the impact of your product is not only important on the shelf, but also how it appears on your mobile device or your PC. So with that in mind, Adam, we'll start with you. There has been a strong acceleration of e-commerce during the pandemic. More detail now of how this has affected the brands.
Great. Yeah, so true. So e-commerce, has accelerated at such a tremendous speed. And as a result, there's been a shift. Brands no longer only have to consider how the product looks on the shelf, but how it can look on a thumbnail on screen, and how can that stand out when you're kind of consuming so much digital data. And it definitely depends on how the packaging is now arriving to people's homes. The way you're shopping now, you're not in a supermarket where there's great POS or lights or music or the people around you and, the smell of the bakery aisle. I'm always in that aisle. But all this now is, we've got to work on just a small number of senses, which we have to be more clever and more dynamic. And brands have to assume that everything, it has to be ready for e-commerce now, and develop a deep understanding of how e-commerce can, what it means for packaging design, and build engagement and excitement around the brand. And actually, Adam, there will be a number of products which will never be seen on the shelf. So there will be a rise of direct-to-consumer brands, and we've already seen success of that. And if we wouldn't mind sharing my first slide for the example of the Wild deodorant, this is just a wonderful example of something which now that goes directly to the consumer's home. These images show really bold, iconic packaging. The packaging's compostable plastic, it's refillable, and this takes centre stage in their marketing. And I don't think it's possible to make deodorant look so sexy, but they've done a really good job here, and it's very distinctive and memorable when you see it online. I spoke to Sam O'Donoghue, who's the founder of Established in New York. They work on brands like Rihanna's Fenty. And he gave me some really key information and kind of advice. And he said, each product now that is being designed online has to have a hero look, rather than looking at the whole range, which we'd normally see in a retail environment. So you normally have one hero product and other smaller ones around it. But now he's saying we have to kind of look at it in a sense that every product that's being designed in that range has to be a hero. And now we know we live in a world which is all about social media, and these images online need to be able to shared, be Instagrammable. And it kind of now creates a new way of experiencing packaging. And it's so important when it arrives to people's homes that it has that emotional contact and connection to kind of you get familiar with the brand.
100%, 100%. Richard, same question.
I don't think
I know you touched on it a little bit, but...
And I don't think I can top sexy deodorant either. But yes, I touched on it a little bit before in terms of more experiential products coming online that consumers are going to want. And I completely agree with Adam in terms of how we're going to have to market and how we're going to have to represent different packs and different products in the online space. Obviously, it's very different to the in-store media that we have today. But as a business, obviously, as I said before, our business is impulsive. Our business is generally hugely related to walking through those aisles and picking something up on a whim. And how do you get into that planned purchase space? How can you create something that consumers desire and are willing to wait for and are excited about receiving when that ice cream van Amazon truck comes down your road? So I've got a couple of examples from Mars. If we share the Galaxy pack, this is a Galaxy hamper, hopefully you'll see it in a second, that we've produced, and you can obviously buy this online, and it's just a great collection of all the favourite Galaxy products delivered to your home. That's one example, a very simple example of what we've been looking at. A second example that I think we can also show is an M&M's dispenser that we've worked on as a bit of a concept car. And this solution is like many people are looking at, how can you get something delivered to consumers' homes through the post? So not that image, as I can see about to come up, but a dispenser, number 5, if you have a look. So I see that's in the corner right, they're rambling through these images. So we're looking at how you get things into consumers' homes in that easy, deliverable way, and how do you make an exciting experience. So many of you probably pre-COVID have gone to an M&M's World store and gone in and seen the number of products we have on offer. One of our most popular products is the M&M's dispenser, a wonderful tool to release M&M's and have some fun with the product and the brand. And we've designed this cardboard version to build at home. So it's a flat pack dispenser. So it ticks on the sustainability box of rather than plastic made out of cardboard, but also it delivers that great fun in-home experience that is something exciting to do, maybe with your kids as well. And obviously lots of chocolate there to enjoy. So it's a question of how can you create something that is gift worthy and enjoyable? And the other benefit of online is obviously you become customizable. So this one, you can pick which pattern you want, what design you want, put a name on it, put a message on it. So it really does elevate what you can buy from in the in-store environment.
That's a great example of innovation on a really legacy product. It's a good looking product. Eliisa, from the labeling standpoint.
Yeah, so before going that, so maybe to say something about the designing the packaging for the e-commerce. So of course, in there you have to take consideration the delivery of the packaging, and that it really can protect the product throughout the whole transport phase. And maybe after you have received the package to your home, so what is also important there is this unboxing experience, and like Richard talked about the use experience. So also this unboxing experience when you finally receive the product that you have ordered via online and you can get it and open the box. So that's also something that there has been some work done in that field. And what it comes to labels, so then I would say that more and more we are seeing examples of digital things, and there are QR codes, for example, on the packages and on the labels, and by scanning the code you can actually get more information about the product, for example, the raw material used or the production of the product or the use phase, and also after you have used the product, so how to recycle that or the packaging. So those kind of additional information you can also put into the packaging.
Absolutely. The label's a great way to tell the story of your brand. I mean, and there's so many innovative ways to do that now. And we're in an interesting time. So, Jenny, I'll extend you the same question.
Thank you. So firstly, I think I'd like to buy one of those M&M dispensers for my nephew. Like, the second I saw that, I was like, that looks like a great thing. So excellent. I haven't seen it in person, but already want to get it from what you've just described there and then. So if I go back to the actual initial question, sorry, like I'm excited by that one. Just wanted to say it looked really cool. So I guess if I think of overall for e-commerce business, there is lots, like Adam said, like some that will just be direct to consumer now. But that was already happening anyway. If I think of small companies like Freddy's Flowers, or you go to a large company like Oriflame, where it's their entire business as an e-commerce model. So it was always there, but with that shift, with everyone moving to online and having that dramatic year of change, what people were like, I guess when I've spoken to some of our clients, what would have been something in 6 years' time has happened in 1 year's time. So it's like sped up that whole side of things. And then if I think about how it's affecting the experience from a consumer, if you're delivering this direct to someone, their initial reaction is going to be what they see in front of their door. So if you get a damaged parcel or you get wrapped around in loads of tape, like that's your initial reaction. Although you've got the whole unboxing experience, if that's all your brand's getting as the first thing, you have to make sure that looks the best, because that is whether someone will buy from you again or not, because now they associate that with your brand, like a brand experience of it arriving at your door. So therefore you have to make sure that entire experience is like top notch and not just fit for purpose, but that whole experience when you open it up, how you open it up. There's been so many innovations on how you tear open a box, or how you then, send it back, or how do people then collect that afterwards? Like what are people doing with that side of things? So that's definitely growing. And then if I take it from a different stance, where Lisa mentioned the QR codes, you do have so much more going on, but there's a great side of transparency for other things, such as, how it works with supply chain, how you get rid of something. But actually there's also the side of what additional experience can you gain as a consumer from that. So not just about traceability, which is a great thing, but you've got like the Lego packs where they can take you into a new world. as a child and things like that. You've got other ways how you can do that. So I think you're getting a step up from a digital side, e-commerce side coming together and enhancing that entire brand experience, something that you wouldn't have been able to do in store. So it actually opens up a whole new world of opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for your insights on e-commerce. And we're going to move to the next topic, which is near and dear to my heart, which is sustainability. So we've touched a little bit on that, but even amidst a difficult 2020, brands and retailers now more than ever are doubling down on their earlier sustainability pledges and making calculated decisions on their impacts to our earth. From the way we eat to the way we dress, most major brands have either already integrated sustainable practices or are in the process that are ever changing. There are many ways to have an impact. So, Jenny, we'll cut back to you with this question. How are brands and designers ensuring that sustainability is no longer a trend to follow, but an essential part of packaging?
It is an excellent question, a very demanding question as well. So I guess if we're able to open up the slide that says conscious design on it, because from my side, I can tell you what we do at Butterfly Can and how we start introducing this into the way how we work as a business. So we have an entire section of our business called conscious design. It flows throughout everything, but there are sometimes just need for that only. So that's a big word. What does it mean? So conscious design is our bespoke design process that allows us to best navigate the minefield of ecological landscape to ensure everything we create is as sustainable as it can be. If you're looking at things, you go, God, I could be compostable, I could be biodegradable, I could be recyclable, I could be reusable. And you tend to go into meetings with clients and everyone has their own opinion on it because there is no silver bullet solution. There is nothing that's perfect that works for everyone. And there's many different ways how you then tackle it from a design perspective based upon what that opportunity is there. So what we started to do is clarify what the brand's purpose is, define their sustainability goals, and understand the context within which they are operating. So we can use our climatic table, which I'll ask whether we could put that slide up because it's easier to discuss when you have it and you can visually see it. And climatic table, yeah. So the climatic table, is a pun on the periodic table, obviously. Not going to say it's not. So it was our way of basically categorizing different ways of working and looking throughout the whole supply chain. So you can go, okay, how are we going to work moving forward? So we take that lies at the heart of our process and helps us prioritize which aspects of sustainability that brand should focus on. So you kind of go into a workshop and you go, okay, I need this to be reusable. So therefore we need to go towards durable materials. We can't think like lightweighting as maximum because then it might not be able to be reusable. So you're basically eliminating things as you go through that whole process. So we just make it easier. So at the end of it, you create a roadmap of, okay, we're going to give you a design solution, but we need to ensure we are meeting the following plans of yours. So we need to make sure you need to use fewer material types. Are you going for locally sourcing? Because actually your entire market's just nearby. You're not actually on a global scale. You're on a global scale. How can we do centralized or local production sites that work for everyone based upon the materials we're choosing? So that way we can review everything holistically rather than, I guess, in a traditional sense. I'm not saying all designers do this, and it wasn't what Butterfly Can were doing, but in a traditional sense, you go, okay, here's your brief. You're going to redesign and reskin everything. Okay, we're going to be getting rid of this. We need this to look better from this marketing stance. Okay, we need to save some costs. Please, can you strip out 2 colors whilst you're redesigning? That kind of side of things. Whereas this way, by flowing through this, everyone's aligned on what we're doing forward. And that way we make sure that we're designing with that purpose in mind and going back always to the brands that we're working with and saying, okay, that we've decided that we're going to do byproducts within your supply chain. Let's look at your supply chain. Let's work with everyone within your company, not just say, okay, the marketing team, you get everyone on board. So that's how at Butterfly Can and we're doing it. We've installed a process because we've realized we were doing it anyway, but realized it was such a difficult thing to just talk about that if you didn't go through a process of it, someone could say, oh, I want it to be made out of this biomaterial, but our regions can only recycle, so we can't actually get rid of that. So it's that talking together and collaboratively working with the client. I hope that makes sense for everyone. I know that was very like, but a lot to get into, like
Makes
2 minutes.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. It's a very valuable tool in a lot of ways. It really starts the conversation and gets you thinking about which pathway you want to go, and then it lays it out for you. So that's great. Eliisa, same question.
Yeah, and first I must say, Jenny, that looks amazing, that climatic table, because really you can try to simplify with that very complex things, and there are so many angles and things you need to consider when you are doing those sustainable things. And also I will be giving 2 examples here, and we as a company, we have seen actually that the sustainability is already here and it's happening, and already today 2/3 of the added value for our company is coming from the products that has the sustainability element in those. And those elements you can see in the picture now. So the products can contain one or several categories from the sustainability point of view. So they can be belonging to reduce, recycled, renew, or enhancing recycling categories. And reduced categories, of course, thinner materials, resource optimized raw material usage, then recycled label materials are containing, of course, recycled content in those. And then the renew ones is materials that contain renewable raw materials. And with those renewable materials, I think it's very important to also consider and make sure that the raw materials are sustainably sourced and they are verified. So that's really important there. And last example from this enhanced recycling category is, for example, labels with wash-off adhesive. So they then better fits to the recycling stream and actually can improve the quality of the recyclate. Another example and proof for this is that we have seen also doubling number of requests for the tailored life cycle analysis calculations for our product, and that is, in my opinion, quite good thing, because it tells that it's not anymore enough to say that you are doing sustainable choices, but actually you want to, and the brands want to give the impact and the magnitude of those changes that they are making. So those calculations can then help to really understand how much you are doing, what is the impact, and compare to the previous situation. And in addition to those, so there are many guidelines on the market coming from retailers, brand owners, and packaging organizations, which are instructing how to design the packaging so that it fits well to the existing recycling stream. So those we have seen increase in the amounts of them. And then if we think about that, why this is now happening, so of course there are awareness, public opinion about the packaging waste and pollution and things like that, and the climate change that we need to tackle. So those are driving that. And also on an EU level, there is much ongoing with the legislation. And a good example of that is that by 2030, all the plastic packaging should be reusable or recyclable. So those are really like things that we see that are now happening and will definitely have a huge impact on the packaging design.
Absolutely, it's forcing innovation, which is great, and it's also forcing collaboration, which is even better, in my opinion. So, Richard, I will pass this to you. So, how's your brand, and from your perspective, how's sustainability no longer a trend to follow, but an essential part of what you do?
Thanks, Adam. It's definitely an essential part of what we do. I'm certainly not a sustainability expert, and I struggled with the periodic table at school, so it's not my area of fundamental expertise. But I agree entirely with Jenny in terms of there's not one silver bullet, and that is probably the biggest challenge that we face within Mars Wrigley. There is no one-size-fits-all solution for packaging, especially within our global business. We operate in over 80 countries, and each has their own waste systems and different abilities to effectively collect, sort, and recycle packaging. And of course, our packaging needs to protect the quality and safety of our food products, but whilst also working within those different local recycling infrastructures within the different markets in local regions. So as a result of that, we're trying a number of different projects over the next few years to see what will work, where and for what product, and give it the best protection in the different systems. So I'm going to share a few different examples in the next few minutes. So the first one of those is Ballisto, which I believe we've got a slide ready for you to see. So from last month, with our German retail partner Edeka, in about 500 of their stores, you can find this paper-based solution for Ballisto. It's made out of 90% paper, 90% natural fibers, and it's FSC and PFC certified, and it has a thin barrier coating protecting the chocolate and preventing it from greasing and therefore going off and losing that shelf stability. And this project will hopefully show how the paper material proves itself in practice, from production, through assembly, through transportation, and then how consumers deal with the packaging as well. And we're doing this on about 100,000 multi-packs in Edeka, and that alone is saving 440 kilograms of plastic. So just on that one very, very small trial, it shows you just how much plastic we use within Mars, as obviously every single product we produce is individually wrapped and it goes to market. So another one that I'd like to talk about, I don't have an image for this one, but since November and for a total of 8 months in France, we're trialling an M&M's mono material pouch, which is reducing the packaging layers and the complexity of it. So it's going to be made out of polyethylene, or is made out of polyethylene, instead of a multi-layer polyethylene and polypropylene. And that is, of course, designed to be recyclable within the local infrastructure within France. And then another one, which you may have seen in the media, we've just announced a partnership with Danima Scientific, and we're trialling biodegradable packaging. Personally, this is one that I am super excited about. It's probably not the sci-fi dream of you finish your chocolate bar and you drop the wrapper and it disappears. I think that's what we would all love. Certainly, the ideal consumer experience is the packaging just puffs into thin air and just disappears. But of course, I don't expect to see thousands of Mars wrappers lining the pavements everywhere, waiting for rain for them to biodegrade. That's we're some way off from that. However, this pack is designed to degrade on land and in water, and it will enable consumers to compost it at home. And it reliably breaks down both in industrial composting facilities and backyard compost units. And it's made and sourced from the seeds of plants. So I'm really excited about all of these trials. And there's a final trial that we're working on packaging, which is called Slim Pouch. This is slide 2, if you want to share that one. And this is from next month, from April in the UK. We're introducing new slim sharing pouches. That's not slide 2. Anyway, I'll talk about that one later. So we're introducing slim sharing pouches. That's the one, yeah. The slim sharing pouches in the UK, and these are narrow packs which have reduced headroom, and therefore they're more efficient for shipping. They have less plastic uses, and they save on average about 10% plastic per pack, which will save us about 51 tons of plastic per year, which is the equivalent of about 90 football pitches of plastic. So that's an awful lot of plastic, and you can fit more into shipping boxes as well. So we'll save on carbon on shipping. So that's from a packaging perspective. But there's also another way to look at packaging, which is what if we don't look at packaging at all, and we look at a different way to get product to market. So if you want to share slide 6 or slide 7, we are looking at rolling out the famous M&M's colour wall that you'll find in the M&M's world into your local grocers. So rather than us shipping multiple packs with individually wrapped products, you can go into your grocers and select from a pick a mix, as you do in M&M's world, and pick out your M&Ms and pack them locally. So obviously this has the bonus of being customizable, fun, interactive, but also highly sustainable, reducing a lot of that primary packaging.
That's amazing, Richard. Thank you. I'm a green M&M guy myself. We are running at about 5 minutes left. So, Adam, would you like to tell your sustainability story, or?
Yeah, I'll be really quick on this. I've got a few kind of pleas and kind of predictions. First of all, congratulations to Mars, UPM Raflatac and Butterfly Cannon. Some amazing examples there, which just shows that we are all thinking about this. And, you know, the table that Butterfly Cannon's put together, I have to praise it. It's such an amazing piece of work. And when I got sent it and read it, I was so excited about it. So Jenny, Natalie, John, to the whole team, it's amazing because you're creating something that's simplistic to understand and you're sharing it with the industry. So, wow, it's just incredible. Also, Butterfly Cannon, I know you guys were one of the first people to employ an expert in sustainability, which is you, Jenny. And I actually predict that a lot of brands and agencies now are going to invest into sustainability experts. You know, it will be as important as your salespeople, your marketeers, your finance people, your HR department. This is how serious this is. And I know governments are going to make legislations in the next 5 years, but all of your business and products need to have sustainability in them. What I would also just say and plead to the industry and anybody that wants to work in sustainability is whoever is doing the best in your industry, whoever's number one, your aim has to be 20% higher in sustainability. That's how we're going to move this forwards, okay? And if we look at sustainability in terms of Pentawards, 3 years ago, we introduced a very small subcategory of sustainable design. It got a small number of entries. In the second year, it doubled. This year, our competition's just closed. It has tripled, which is amazing news. And for the very first time, it's got its own category, and we have our own sustainable design jury. And if you could share the slide, please, of our jury. And Jenny might get a little bit embarrassed here, but she is part of our jury. We've got some amazing people here, which includes Robert Taylor, you know, UPM's very own expert. We've also got Kevin Shaw from Stranger & Stranger, Silky Boschak from Colgate, Uwe Meschler from the European Brand and Packaging Design Association. So for us as an organisation, this is so important to us, and we could have kept our current jury, but we wanted the experts, and for that, I hope everybody can see it is a top of our agenda, and we thank everybody for their entries this year. And for Jenny and everybody else who are part of the jury, we're excited for you to see the entries.
Amazing, Adam. Thank you so much. So we've got about 3 minutes left. So I'm going to do a quick sum up. So we will start with Richard. What do you think the future of packaging design is?
I'm hoping it's a have-it-all future for pack designs. So the ability to deliver exciting, desirable, and unique experiences, but out of recycled or reclaimed materials that can then be reused, recycled, or biodegrade.
Perfect. Adam, same question.
Yeah, great. I think most important is brands that have a purpose, designed for good, you know, are looking at sustainability, using e-commerce in a sensitive way, and using connected packaging. And I think the goal has to be, you know, in years to come, that all materials used have a positive impact on the environment. And yeah, that's what I see.
Amazing. Jenny, thoughts?
Not to add on to that same bandwagon, but pretty much the same, I'd say. You know, sustainability is here to stay. Packaging is here to stay. We need it to protect things. It's part of our lives. It's the way how we work now and how we as a global community survive. So we need it in our lives. There's great stuff going on with refills and rethinking in that way as well. But there'll be, I think, more pushing towards that, towards reuse, refill. People understanding more about materials. Like I'm seeing people in schools, like it was nothing that I was taught when I was at primary school or secondary school. Now learning more about materials, so that education piece is coming in for everywhere as well. I think that's really great for people to understand from an early age. And there'll be more about what your experience is overall, like we said with the e-commerce, or what can you, using your packaging as a portal to elsewhere in the world. and what else you can do there. Expand that experience.
Excellent. Eliisa, round it out for us.
Yeah, well, there's so many good comments already said, so maybe I just take the opportunity and show you here one good example of the sustainable packaging. So this is our forest film here in this water bottle, PET water bottle, and this is really made of the wood, the plastic film. It is ISCC certified, so replacing the fossil-based raw materials used in the films and totally renewable ones. And what is also good in this that this is combined with the wash-off adhesive, so this packaging fits very well to the existing recycling stream.
Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the 2-for-1 aspect of that one, personally. So our time is up for today, but I want to thank you all for your contributions to this webinar. Different viewpoints are all appreciated and needed to prepare ourselves for the future of packaging. To the attendees, I want to thank you as well for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.